Any number of reasons might have led you to amass a good amount of cash. And the question I always get asked, Colin, is, well, how much cash is enough? And on the other side, how much is too much? Hey folks, this is Colin Richards, president and founder of Lord & Richards. And once again, I'm excited to be with you on this episode of the Lord & Richards Show. And as you know, those of you who have been listening to us for a while know that what we do here at Lord & Richards, as we teach through radio and other media week after week out in the public, as well as within our offices here, we are teaching people how to become financially independent. We bring a unique perspective in that we bring a biblical point of view. At Lord & Richards, we seek to honor God through what we're doing, and so we also try to follow principles that are timeless and enduring. And so today, as we talk about yet another principle of financial independence, we're going to talk about where do I put my cash? Where do I put my cash? As people meet with us day after day, sometimes those folks have concerns related to financial independence. And they're worried that events out of their control are going to mess up their retirement, their future. And of course, it's natural to be worried about things like that. Of course, as Christians, we have a biblical framework where we're told to be anxious for nothing, but we are also told to be wise as serpents, harmless as doves. In other words, have the wisdom, but don't use it for evil. And so wisdom says, hey, we want to put a plan in place together with you, listening to your concerns, your goals, your dreams, your values, what's important to you about life, and then what's important about money, which is merely a tool to get us to those things that we really want in life. And so our financial independence review process is designed to sit down, hear those goals, those dreams, those values, and build a plan so that you can retire or be financially independent without worry. And so in our very bottom layer, we sometimes use the analogy of a home and construction. And we're all familiar with that, whether you've ever been involved in it or whether you've just moved in to a house or a building that someone else has and rented, or whether you own something that somebody else already built. Whatever your experience, we all know that a house has to have a number of key components, a foundation. It needs to have walls and structure to it. It needs to have a roof. And we talk about all of these, and I'll be bringing them up again here in upcoming episodes, your fiscal house. And at the foundational level are tools like cash. Now, cash is not the foundation. The foundation at Lord & Richards is part of a structure we teach called 3 kinds of money. And in 3 kinds of money, it's about learning how to partition your money, your cash. I'm not talking here primarily about real estate or those types of investments. I'm talking about your investable assets, that which can be converted back into dollars easily, how to position those in different ways to serve different goals. You know, many people have a lot of cash these days because maybe going into the election or maybe just in general being concerned about market volatility. Any number of reasons might have led you to amass a good amount of cash. And the question I always get asked, Colin, is, well, how much cash is enough? And on the other side, how much is too much? You know, I sat down with people just like you, and they've put half or all of their money into cash. Is that a good idea? Or I meet with other people, and they'll say, well, I don't believe in cash because it doesn't grow enough, so I put everything in the market, and then what I do is just rely on debt, maybe home equity or credit cards, to deal with short-term needs. I think both of those views are extreme, and you're going to be far better off to get right down the middle and build a portfolio that consists of 3 kinds of money. And the foundational layer of that money is going to be partially related to your cash. So in our fiscal house at the foundational level, we want to make sure we have what's called an emergency fund, or maybe to sound less extreme, a short-term reserve, money for that which could come up in the next days, weeks, or even months. I like to typically see maybe about 6 months of what you normally live on. I'm not talking about your income. I'm talking about your expenses. So sit down and think about, well, what's typically left over at the end of the month when I get my income? And if nothing's available at the end of the month, well, that's your expenses, okay? But if you've got savings going places like 401ks, savings accounts, investments, then exclude that. And what we're looking at is what does it take to support your lifestyle, including taxes, of course. That's part of your budget. Once we discern that, then what we want to do is have about a 6-month supply minimum on hand in cash. That means readily accessible, and it has to meet a few qualifications. In this first kind of money, or what we call emergency or short-term reserve, we're going to emphasize 3 specific attributes. We want that money, number one, to be safe. So that's going to rule out other investments like stocks, bonds, mutual funds. You say, I thought bonds were safe. No, bonds have risk, right? In 2022, we really saw that as bonds went down as much as stocks did. So we're talking about things that are really safe, and we'll talk about what those are and how to choose. Then we got to emphasize a second thing, which is liquidity, because I can think of a lot of safe things like maybe a 5-year CD, but they're not liquid, right? So we need this to be money you can grab at a moment's notice, go to the ATM or transfer online and get it into your hands for an emergency or for an expected short-term purchase like a car or maybe some furniture or a vacation. All these fall under the short-term or emergency category. What we're not going to see much of, especially when interest rates settle down, is we're not going to see a lot of growth there, right? We understand that. We've really got 3 things: safety, liquidity, and growth, but only 2 of those can be emphasized to any great degree at any one time. Now, right now, we're in a little anomaly where interest rates are high enough that you can get 3 or 4 or more % on your cash easily. You can go online, open a completely online account. You don't even have to talk to people to get that percentage. But generally, you're going to see lower growth. So at this foundational level, cash is going to be part of that. And we'd like to see some of your money sitting in cash. In other words, in a bank account, a money market, a savings account, not so much a longer term CD. If you're in a CD, make it short term, very short, and make sure that the penalties, if you do need to tap into that money, are very low. So you got to do a little bit of extra work besides just looking at the interest rate. So this is our first segment on a 3-part series on where do I put my cash? And as a person trying to build a plan for financial independence, and we got to do that, folks. They say if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time, right? So we're going to build a plan so that you are or continue to be, if you are already, financially independent. So here's a foundational level. What is cash supposed to do within my portfolio? Now what we're going to talk about in the upcoming segments is where do I put that cash? So hang on, and I'll look forward to talking to you in our next segment. In the meantime, I would love to connect you with our team of amazing advisors. We are talking to people just like you every single day, and the excitement and the joy of being financially independent and not having to worry, that's something you deserve. It simply starts with a phone call.